Hello, 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 hello. How is it going, people? Welcome to the stream. Welcome, 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 and one more time, welcome. And it looks like, finally, it's the August 22nd of year 2024, and Arsenal have, and God knows how long it took, finally signed Mikel Merino. Unbelievable scenes. Unbelievable scenes. The guy's traveling to the UK to do the medicals and all that stuff, but it looks like finally the daily Mikel Merino saga can stop. Phew. It was a long journey with him. It was a very long journey, to be honest. Way too long, I would imagine it should have taken, but we are here. It has happened, and it is going to happen. Now, the biggest thing is we are signing Merino. We're going to talk about it more in detail in a second. But the biggest question still for me stands. Will we sign a forward this transfer window? Because at the moment, it is still up in the air whether we're going to sign a forward or not. Because some say we are, some say we are not. And if, for example, Mikel Merino is the last transfer signing, no lie, I won't be too pleased. I won't be too pleased whatsoever. It should be actually a disgrace if we sign only Mikel Merino, and that is it. So definitely we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about some interesting links with Lookman, which is not gonna happen. So why are we gonna talk about it? Because, well, we're gonna talk about Ramsdale. Maybe about Nketiah as well, and some other links that are happening all across and surrounding Arsenal for today. So if you're new around here, don't forget to smash thumbs up, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to hit that bell and all that stuff. If you're new around here, get also interactive in the chat. Let's talk about things, watching on playback, comment, everything. I reply to every single comment, I read through them every single time. So to be honest, let's not drag this too long. It has finally happened, so let's get into it. Mikel Merino. Big up BX Gunner in the chat. Big up, big up, big up, and welcome. It is here. It is happening. It is live. And I'm trying to not sound like a top gunner, but I kind of am because, well, it has finally happened. Only took us a month, but we finally have agreed on Mikel Merino. It's a here we go. Verbal agreement in place for Spanish midfielder to join Gunners. 32 million euros plus 5 million in add-ons. That's about what, 27 million pounds plus about 2.5 million in add-ons. Big up Nick in the chat as well. Here we go. Here we go. And with favorable payment terms. That's a new one. That is a new one. I, to be honest, never have heard this term in terms of signing a player in with favorable payment terms. What does that even entail? Does that entail us paying for him in about 6 years, every single year, for about 4 million or something like that, or what? That is the big question, but this is the first one for me. Favorable payment terms. Man, this is wild. But he has signed till 2028, so 4 years, which is kind of interesting. He'll be, what, 32 by then? Which is actually not bad. Arsenal were closing on the Merino deal since end of July. So basically, it took us a month to sign him. Merino only wanted Arsenal, allegedly, and it is a here we go. On top of all that, similar like to Calafiori, Mikel Arteta has been crucial also for Merino's move to Arsenal. Posted tax the player Merino had last two proposals, but has been clear only Arsenal. He's set to travel for medicals and sign until 28, plus an option, I assume, for 1 more year. So Mikel Merino is finally happening. It is happening. He has signed for Arsenal. So biggest question is now. Biggest question at the moment is right now. Now the big question is which of these sites we are gonna do here. Since we play 4-3-3, we're gonna do it like this. I don't want to switch anything around, but nah, this is not gonna work. I want to find one. No, let's do this one. Yeah, let's do this one. No thanks. Let's go Arsenal. Okay, let's go with Arsenal's old one. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's do this. I don't know if you can see this. Oh, you can. It's fully in the screen, which is actually kind of nice. So, how we are looking at the moment, that is the big thing here. Jesus is going to come off. Let's be real. Bukayo Saka. We're going to do Odegaard here. Marquinhos, Rice, Zinchenko, Saliba. Timber is coming off for White. Marquinhos, God knows why he's still here, is coming on for Partey. So, basically, this is the 11 we are running right now. Raya, Zinchenko, Gabriel, Saliba, White, Rice, Partey, Odegaard, Martinelli, Havertz, and Saka. This is the starting 11 we have run pretty much. This is our best midfield as well, if you think about it. Having said, this is our best midfield to the dot, if you think about it. The question now is, where, by the way, that Zinchenko at left back makes me still uneasy, but we're gonna try and ignore that for the purposes of this discussion. Where does he slot into the midfield? Because this is the big thing. If we play like we tend to play, it could look something like this, arguably. It could look something like this potentially. Which means that Merino is gonna play here, or where? Where is gonna play Mikel Merino? That is the big question. Where is he going to play? If we keep from what we used to play before, we're gonna look something like this. And Merino is gonna play, I assume, in that right spot, which means it's gonna look something like this, and Partey comes off, and for purposes of let's just say it's El Neni, right? I cannot change his name, unfortunately, but let's assume this is Mikel Merino, right? Let's assume this is Mikel Merino. I know it's El Neni, but let's assume this is Mikel Merino. So this would be our midfield. We would look like this in game, correct? If Partey is not playing. If Partey is not playing, this would be the way we look by the looks of things. Am I correct to say that, or am I missing something here? We're gonna look like this. Midfield of Merino, Rice, and Odegaard. That would be our midfield. Biggest question is, would that be good enough? I see games where this could work, but in the big games, I'm not sure whether it's gonna work or not. That is the big question for me. Where does he slot into the team? Especially if Thomas Partey is fully fit. Because Partey, most of the time, he was decent in the first half against Wolves. In the second half, he was quite abysmal, but it is what it is. So if Partey is fully fit, on top of his form, Merino doesn't play. Because then Declan Rice doesn't play. Because one of the midfielders has to give. And that is the big question now. Where does this happen? How does this happen? Because Odegaard is undroppable. Rice or Partey is undroppable, depending on how we play, who is injured and who is not. So Mikel Merino is the one that is odd one out, who can get rotated in this instance. Because if Partey is not injured, you could argue that this is our best midfield. You could argue that this is our best midfield if Partey is not injured. Of course, if Partey is injured, we go back to this where Rice drops in 6. And for purposes, El Neni will be our, Merino. And he will be in that left number 8 role. And yeah, Odegaard, Rice, Merino could be that way, definitely. And he could be super sub at times. So if Partey is not injured, Merino definitely starts. There's no question about it. But the question again now begins, if everyone's fit, where does he start? Because let's just say there is a blue moon, all the stars align, all the planets align, and Partey is on form of his life like he was 2 years ago and doesn't get injured like whatsoever. Merino basically is the odd man out who gets just rotated and plays on occasion, isn't he? Because I still kind of believe that our best midfield is with Partey at that 6. He has that ability to break the lines with his passing that pretty much none of our midfielders have. You could say Jorginho, but he cannot defend. Partey is that player that can do everything in that spot. So basically, it is what it is. Merino could be the odd man out because I'm still not convinced about Merino, I'm not gonna lie. He played in Premier League 8 years ago when he was about 6-7 years ago when he was about 21, 22 when he was at Newcastle. Newcastle fans have mixed feelings about him from what I understand, and he hasn't been in Prem since then. He was playing for Sociedad. So that now raised the question, will he be good enough? And on top of that, for me, Mikel Merino is a squad signing per se. I don't see him maybe as a world beater, that's the world-class level midfielder that raises our ceiling of our team, as much as maybe he is that type of signing who raises the floor of the team, making the gap between starting 11 and the bench that much more narrow. Because otherwise it's a massive drop-off, let's be real. So for me, I'm still not convinced in that regard, because it's all fun and games when you hype up players, but they have to perform. And he hasn't been in Prem for 6-7 years. Yes, he has matured, he has gone better. You could argue he's in his prime, so the big question is, will he be good enough? And that's what we're gonna show. Obviously, most likely than not, he's not gonna play against Aston Villa. There's no chance. Let's be real, there's no chance. Although if he plays, that would be kind of nuts. And we play Aston Villa, obviously, on Saturday. Gonna do a watch along for that as well, so that will be quite interesting how that goes, because 5 times they have met, Arteta versus Emery, and Emery has won 3 times, drawn once, and lost only once, so it will be very, very interesting. I also question who starts at left back against Villa, because I don't want to see Zinchenko again against Leon Bailey there and everything, so I would definitely play Timber most likely there. But yeah, where will Mikel Merino play? Because for me, he's more rotational than anything type of player. At the moment, at least, until Partey gets, you could arguably say, inevitably injured, but I don't want to wish that on any player whatsoever. So if he stays fit, Rice stays fit, Merino, you cannot guarantee him proper minutes until someone gets injured, unless we rotate him in cups and maybe against lesser teams. Because he was, given that he signed him it took us a month to sign him, he has to play. He has to play quite a bit. And the question is where and how he's gonna play. For me, that is the biggest question I need an answer right now. Because it would be quite interesting in a way, and bear with me here, if Arteta maybe switch his tactics to something similar he did when he just joined Arsenal, when he won the FA Cup with Emery's squad. He played 3 at the back, right? He played the midfield of, let's just say, Saka plays right mid, right wing back, Martinelli left mid, left wing back. We have, he can get binned in the bin. Then we have midfield maybe of Rice and Merino. Then we play Odegaard in there. And we have 2 strikers with Havertz and Jesus. Man, that's actually quite interesting thought. I'm not gonna lie. I've kind of lost. Xhaka role for Merino. I get that. If you say Xhaka role for Merino, it means that either Partey or Rice gets dropped. You have to pick and choose. We are competing on all fronts. He'll start. If we are competing. Because for over the years, we haven't seen much like, how to say, indication, per se, that we're gonna fight, because in the last 4 years we have been dropped out of 3rd or 4th round instantly in FA Carabao Cups. So that will be the big question, how he's gonna play. But if you say for Xhaka role, it means again that it's not that easy when you think about it. Well, now where's Jesus? We're gonna take him out. I would assume Zinchenko plays that stupid role, and if we play it right, it looks like this. If we look like this, if you say that role, it means Odegaard's undroppable, which means either Rice plays at 6 or Partey plays at 6. Right? But that's the thing. You say Rice over Thomas, right? The biggest issue with that statement for me is Partey is the facilitator in the team from that number 6 role that connects the midfield defense to midfield to attack. Because we last season saw when Rice was playing at 6, right? Let's put, let's say, where's Declan? Rice at 6. Odegaard had to drop into this area. Saka had to drop down in this area to even get a pass off. Because Rice at times is not the best out from cutting lines between the defenders and getting ball forward. But as soon as towards the end part of the season, where is he? Partey came back. Odegaard didn't have to drop so deep anymore. Saka as well could be a more upfront, because Partey in this instance, with his passing ability, even under high pressure, and his ability to keep the ball, and with his strength, can spread a pass from here to instantly to Saka, instantly to Odegaard, thus starting our attack in these areas instantly, not without the necessity for Odegaard to drop to here, and the fact that he needs to carry the ball, which by the time 2 or 3 defenders are onto him and he needs to pass back. That is the big thing for me now. Partey for me is that player who can connect the defense to offense. And for me, Rice is just not ready for that. We saw him lose a ball in certain instances under high pressure. Partey just has something about him that he has that it factor, that X factor in those situations where he actually can get out of those and instantly start an attack. Rice tends to kind of smothered in those situations. And yes, he has good passing. His long passing isn't the greatest. He's not as good as Thomas Partey, is my opinion. But overall, he has a good passing. He can pass out the ball from the back, but not on the level Thomas Partey can. Thomas Partey just has that it factor which can connect the defense to attack quite instantly, if that makes sense. And that is now the big question. Because for me, if Partey is fit and on top of form, I don't want to see Partey dropped. That's the case. Since he's staying, we have to make amends with that. But if he's on his form like he was 2 seasons ago, he was unstoppable in that midfield. He got compared even to Rodri at some points by some top gooners. That he's one of the best DMs in the league, if not the best. So, if Partey gets to that form once again, it means you have to drop either Rice or Merino starts from the bench. And you then have to decide which one you want to do. And that is the big question. Because if we play, let's just say, Ipswich or your, who else is like low level, your Leicester, Southamptons and stuff like that, yes, you could make argument for Partey at 6, Rice at 6, and start Merino in that left edge Xhaka role. I get that. But Partey, if he's in a good form, he's inevitable in these instances. That is for me the biggest issue with this. Yeah, there we land Merino. He will play as a 6 to connect the midfield. Wait, you're talking about Merino is gonna play as a 6? Really? Yeah, that's the case. Partey hasn't looked good since 22-23 season. And he looked good for about 75 to 80% of that season. Towards the end part of the season, he really dropped off. That's the case. However, if Partey gets back to that form, there is massive arguments for him not to be dropped. That is for me the biggest thing. Like the biggest thing with Partey, he's only 31, so he's not that old. Although there is the biggest question about Partey: can he stay fit? Because it feels like when we speak about Thomas Partey, main thing you pretty much want to say that him getting injured is inevitable in a way. So if he's injured, yes, you put Rice in number 6, and then just go from there with Merino at that Xhaka role in left number 8. So it is what it is. So that is in a way good headache to have, but in a way as well at the same time, the thing is that Rice and Merino, either of those players, don't possess the ability that Partey has. The Partey has with passing out from the defense to offense, and that is for me one of the biggest, one of the most crucial points that has Mikel Arteta in his team, where he connects defense to offense, and that is still me getting mind boggled in this instance. That is still making me uneasy, but it is what it is. I guess we have to make amends with that. I worry about Partey at Villa Park and being vulnerable on the transition, but we need physicality to go. Exactly. We need that physicality against Onana. The thing is, whenever we have played against Onana when he was at Everton, every single time he has bullied us. And even with Merino's addition and Partey being here, our midfield is gonna get bullied to a certain extent by Onana. There's no argument about that. The way he attacks, the way he presses, and the way he drops his weights around, it is very, very dangerous for Arsenal. Because as soon as we get opponents get very physical with us, they don't want to indulge into high tiki-taka and everything and try to press so we can pass around all over the place. We are screwed in a way. As soon as they get rough with us, we are very nice and we are too weak in that instance. And Partey there definitely would kind of balance that physicality aspect of the game. Now the question is, can he sustain that intensity and won't he get injured and everything? That is for me the biggest question. Rice will cook as a 6. Last year at 6, Rice looked very average in many occasions. He had man of the match performances there. He had 7 out of 8 and everything people say. He had good performances there. But overall, as a lone number 6, he just, for me, leaves more to be desired. And against big teams who can press us and catch us out. Especially like, for example, Villa with pacey wingers and other teams with pacey wingers who can drop balls over the top. Rice is a bit 50-50 for me still. Obviously, he has trained during the summer. Arteta has worked with him, I would assume so. The defensive coaches, attacking coaches have worked with him to kind of figure out these instances, these situations at that position. But we need to see that in action for me still. Because there were times last season when he was a 6, he was alone at 6, left alone, and he lost the possession and we instantly were super vulnerable to the counters. Because when we go and attack, Zinchenko inverts, White tends to overlap at times, and in these instances there are times when Saliba and Gabriel are at times left alone, and if Rice loses possession, it's on these two to shut down their attack. And we all know when Zinchenko can't get back, and if, for example, in this instance, this is Bailey, for Aston Villa, he's gonna outpace Zinchenko without shadow of a doubt. And then it could be 2-on-3, and we could be outnumbered. And that for me is the big instance, for example, if we play Rice at 6. He somehow still is a bit like 50-50 for me. Partey surely progresses the ball better than Rice. The brother's legs are finished. He is always vulnerable to go. That's the thing. Partey, how he progresses the ball is miles clear of Rice, I would say. Because the way he kind of connects these spaces with the passing, or Odegaard or straight to Saka and stuff like that, or White straight to Saka, the way he does it, Rice hasn't done that whatsoever. No, he has done that, but not to the level. And it kind of slows down our attack and our progression of the attack. The thing is, though, biggest question is Partey's pace. Is he vulnerable? If he sits alone in this 6 role, for example, or he sits at back and he doesn't push to here when we attack and we look pretty much like this, right? Then there is no issue. If for example, if we look like this, right? If we look somewhat like this in certain instances. If Partey is in this position, right? It doesn't look that bad. But overall, it is what it is. Although Partey in the game against Wolves, in the first half at least, didn't look that bad. I'm not gonna lie. In the first half, he was looking actually pretty darn good. I'm gonna be honest with you. And he had some moments when he had to sprint back, and he actually caught up to the attackers and outpaced them. So there might be some instances where he actually has the legs. Although in second half, he completely destroyed the impression from the first half. He gave away ball in 5 times and everything, and he got legitimately destroyed there. You could see that he actually wasn't doing well there, and it was like his granddad was playing or someone else. It felt like generally it was day to night to the performance that he had in first half. That is the biggest question. If Partey can play full 90 on good level, there's no shadow of a doubt that he should stay and play on the pitch. The question is, if he stays, Rice most likely is also going to stay and not going to get subbed off. Then the big question is, where does Merino slot in? Because for me, again, I will sit on this until I get proven wrong, that Merino per se isn't a player who maybe raises the ceiling for Arsenal as much as closes the gap from the bench to Arsenal's starting 11. Because we always have this issue when we have a great 11, well, good 11, great 11, the drop off to bench is like Grand Canyon. And for me, Merino definitely decreases that gap. Because if Partey is on great form and Rice is on great form, Merino is on a great form, then it's all good, it's all amazing, it's all fantastic. It's a headache for manager, and manager needs that. But if one is on awful form and everything, one gets injured or something, then we need to talk about these situations. Because speaking of Partey, it's almost inevitable that he's gonna get injured, as much as I hate to say it, you know. But anyways, we can basically make hypotheticals of this situation quite a bit. But the fact is the fact. Merino is signing for Arsenal until 2028 with an option to extra year. 30-something million, I already forgot, where's my brain? 32 million euros plus 5 million on add-ons. So that is basically 27 million pounds plus 2.5 million pounds in add-ons. That is actually pretty darn good, but it's hella too long, I'm not gonna lie. No. How about with 2 CMs, Rice and Merino? So basically you want to propose something like this, right? 4-3-3 in attacking more instance, right? So it would look like this. Yeah, that is the case. I could see that. In certain games, and especially if Partey gets injured, Rice and Merino is going to play together, in my opinion, for sure, if that is the case. But overall, it will be very interesting, because if you remember, if you were watching, if you were alive, or if you were old enough to remember how we used to play under Arsene Wenger, we used to play with 3 center mids. We played Cazorla, we played Wilshere, we played Ramsey. We played with one more box-to-box, one more attacking, and one more creative. And yeah, that was, I think, one of the biggest issues at Arsenal, that we couldn't replace Patrick Vieira for about 10 plus years nearly. And that also has cost us big time. We had Flamini there, Coquelin there. Who else was there? There was Alex Song was the last one, quite somewhat decent one, although in a way our team made him look good. He wasn't as good as he actually was. The team just made him look good. So it's very interesting how we have taken so many years to replace certain instances in the team. But it is what it is. I can see definitely playing like this with Rice and Merino in the midfield. That was the big one. Peak Wenger ball. Peak Wenger ball, you just had to be exactly that. To be honest, for example, that goal against Norwich, right, is imprinted in my mind forever, for example. The one-touch passing between the players, and when Wilshere as well scored that goal, it just... You're never gonna forget those, that one touches with Giroud and everything all around, and they basically Norwich is standing still and just watching the ball go around. They basically are ball watching to the highest level. They got the most exclusive seats to one of the most perfect goals you can ever imagine in a way. It's like team goals you can ever imagine. That was actually kind of mad in those days. But yeah. Yeah, insane. Yeah, exactly. That is the case. So, like Arsenal these days, Arsenal are trying to play that way these days, but it's never gonna happen. Because as soon as you try something like that, we are afraid to shoot in a way as well. We don't shoot from outside the box, so in a way we are in that instance kind of stopped. And also in this instance on the attack, we are stopped the fact that we try to play the perfect goal. And if we're not gonna score those type of perfect goals all the time, because that's never gonna happen. We just need to accept that and just try to score when we can. Yeah, you could argue that definitely Wenger ball was different. He completely changed the way people look at football, and that is the case. Completely changed the way we look at football. We look at the way teams play football, and everything. He gave freedom to certain players. He didn't put players in boxes in a way, in certain positions, like managers do these days. He allowed the players express themselves and everything. Yeah, it's not a coincidence that, for example, Alexis Sanchez absolutely loved playing. In certain instances, he was the main role. He had a free roam position at Arsenal, and he just did whatever he wanted in a way. And he, being that world-class player he was at the time, in a way, I consider him world-class. It's just insane what it was. Insane. Yeah, Pires Zumbag as well, incredible. Like, imagine those ballers we used to have. And just imagine the team we have now. Like, we should be able to win something, yet we win nothing in a way. Like, it's kind of mad, to be honest. Because, for example, imagine, let's just say for the sake of argument, Prime Alexis in this team. It would never work. That is the big thing. We used to, for example, Prime Alexis Sanchez would never work in this team. Because the way Arteta wants to play, he would just sit on that left wing. It would genuinely never work. The low block-up teams play against us and everything. Yes, Alexis would get the ball. He would try, if Arteta allowed him to take on opponents, it would be completely different. That is the big case. I think the certain players just wouldn't succeed under Mikel Arteta that Arsenal used to have. That is also for me a big question. For example, for me also the biggest question still stands. If Arsenal sign a striker, will he succeed at Arsenal? Because under Mikel Arteta, besides Aubameyang, who he binned off, and Lacazette, we haven't had proper striker in our team ever. He has never coached a proper striker at Arsenal. We have all these makeshift wannabe players who can play in about 55 positions on the pitch, and nobody is like a master of one role, like Saliba and Gabriel are masters of center back, for example. We don't have that master in the number 9 role. And we haven't had that since Aubameyang, but Arteta forced him to play left wing back and left back, and Lacazette half the time was playing CDM and everything. So we never have seen how striker would succeed under Mikel Arteta. And the fact that we are not signing a striker also kind of makes me to believe that he doesn't believe in strikers in general. It feels that way because 4 years since we binned off Aubameyang, and we still haven't signed a proper striker. We have signed 3 forward players in what it says, Trossard, Jesus, and Marquinhos, and we signed Havertz as a midfield. But when shit hit the fan, Arteta, I guess, realized he cannot play in midfield properly. He got instantly put up at striker. So it is what it is. The big question is, it still stands, can a striker succeed under Mikel Arteta? But I guess that question might not actually never get answered in the way we are moving in transfer market and we are not signing a proper striker. But it is what it is. It is what it is. The days when we used to play nice football. Oh, what a throwback. Anyhow, Merino is done. Yesterday, these news broke. Which was kind of mad, but these news broke. Arsenal are prepared to offer a proposal worth of 50 million plus bonuses for Ademola Lookman. With the possibility of including Jakub Kivior in the deal, Atalanta are requesting 65 to 70 million for the player, with Liverpool also in the background. Now this went extra viral in Arsenal's fan base instantly. And already some people were just, don't want to say this, but nutting, pause, all over this signing. However, they shot their load too soon, if you will, with Fabrizio confirming that Liverpool and Arsenal are not in talks with Atalanta for Ademola Lookman. For me personally, I can see him signing for Arsenal. The question is whether he wants to be a backup for Saka. But overall, I much rather have a different winger, a different type of winger at Arsenal. But it is what it is. That's just me. That is just me. That was just a weird one yesterday that went all over the place in a way. I was looking back at the budget Wenger had for his whole career. The first player over 30 million he signed with. Yeah. Wasn't Mesut Ozil like 40-45 million? Wasn't Mesut Ozil about 40-45 million or something like that? Overall. I'm not talking about the straight up money. Wasn't he about that? Wasn't like that like 40-45 million if I'm not mistaken, Ozil? If I'm not mistaken. He was something like that, right? Mesut Ozil, where's the move to Arsenal? Mesut Ozil to Arsenal, yeah, 47 million euros, 43 million pounds. Yeah. We signed him for 42 million pounds. Imagine, at the time, for 42 million pounds, you could have signed Mesut Ozil. Now for 42 million pounds, do I even need to say something? You have to sign some players from nobody knows and never has heard of, and nobody knows how they're gonna look or where he's gonna play. Because at the time, in a way, Mesut Ozil at the time was top assister at Real Madrid. I remember that I was reading on Real Madrid and everything like years back, and it still has been imprinted in my brain about this. Real Madrid's top assister, the year they sold Mesut Ozil, season before was Mesut Ozil. Next year they sold Angel Di Maria. Next season or the season after that. And the top assister for the season before for Real Madrid at the time was Angel Di Maria. Which is still kind of mad if you think about it. They always have sold some of their best players at the time they sold. But this is the thing. Real Madrid operate on different level. They already see, before everyone else sees, that the player has to go. He's not good enough in certain instances and he's not going to work. It's similar what Pep does. He already knew 2-3 years ahead that Jesus needs to go, Zinchenko needs to go, Cancelo just has gone to Saudi, he also needs to go. He sees these things. Yet other teams don't, and that is one of the biggest reasons. That is the biggest reasons for me. Why some of the managers are there, up there. All this is good, but with whatever way the manager wants to use his player, but we need, exactly, we need to score. And the thing is, we would have scored against Wolves 3-4 goals if we had a proper striker. Last season, we don't lose to Aston Villa if we have a proper striker. We don't lose to, what's its face, West Ham. We should have been 5-6-0 up at first half in there as well, but we lost 2-0. Why? Because we didn't have a proper striker. And the biggest thing is, the striker, yes, he would take away goals from other positions, let's just say Saka, Martinelli, Trossard, Odegaard, whatever, right? He would add to that, and we would have scored more goals. Man City scored 96 goals last year. We scored 91. There was a 5-goal difference. However, we can see Man City scored 5 goals more. We conceded 5 goals less than Man City. So it kind of balanced each other out. But still, with Kevin De Bruyne being injured for half a season, Haaland being out for 2 months nearly, they still managed to score more goals than us and still managed to win the league. And what did Man City did when they won the league? When they had when they won the league, they went to sign Erling Haaland season afterwards. What they did afterwards, they signed another striker. They just sold Alvarez, and they're going to sign another striker. They don't need that another striker. They have players who can play in that number 9 spot very, very good. They don't need that, but they're gonna do it still because they can, and that is basically just in case situation overall. Just in case. They don't need it, but they can, basically. That's how Man City, in a way, at the moment is operating. Because the way we move in the window, it feels like we won the Premier League last season and we don't need to do much. Man City, in the last 2 weeks of transfer window, pretty much has done more business than we have done the whole transfer window. Like, how mad is that? Yeah, that's why Merino's price kind of... In a way, you could say that, definitely. Definitely, we get him for about 32 million overall, in pounds, if we speak about pounds, overall, which seems like a pretty good bargain, to be honest, in that sense. It seems like a good bargain. For the player who has proven himself in general, who has won the Euros just and everything. Is he the best midfielder at Real Sociedad? No, he's not. I'm going to say that right now. I'm going to say he's on the edge of being second or third. That Mendes guy is very decent. He excels at certain things Merino doesn't, but Merino excels in other things that Mendes doesn't. However, the best midfielder in Real Sociedad is Zubimendi. There's no shadow of a doubt about that. So Mikel Merino arguably is second or third best midfielder in the Sociedad scene. So it is what it is. Manchester United dropped 40 million plus on Veron in 2001, and Top Gooners keep saying we can't compete with Pep. People need to understand that this is all relative. With inflation and everything at the time, United were that time Manchester City. In my opinion, at least. They were spending money big left, right and center. Arsenal were doing what they did then, they're doing it now. Adjusted inflation more or less just then. At that time, Manchester United, Sir Alex Ferguson, nobody at the time said, no, Wenger can't compete with Sir Alex Ferguson. We signed Wenger from Japan, for fuck's sake. And in the first few seasons, he wins the league, he does everything. Nobody then had the excuse of, oh, we need to wait until Sir Alex Ferguson retired. If we did that, we would have to wait another 15 fucking years. It's just insane. At the time, nobody had excuses to wait till Sir Alex Ferguson retires or something like that. You just went there and you got the job done. There were no excuses. You win or you lose. Everyone's held accountable. If you win, you win. If you don't, you get... In a way, you get your head bashed in. If you get what I mean. Either it's mentally or by fans or something like that. If you lose, everyone is down. Everyone's pissed off. Everyone's bantering at schools, at work and everything. These days, you lose, they make, oh, a good try at Villa Park. Our journey comes to an end in Champions League. Tough night at, whatever that was. Craven Cottage and everything. And everyone's happy, yappy, la la la, and we go home. Heads up, let's move on to next one. Well, basically, yeah. Head up, let's move on to next one. 20 plus years ago, you lost for the next 1 or 2 days. Pretty much you didn't want to see anyone in the world. Dear God, someone said something to you. You had to basically calm down before you basically snapped at them. These days it's all, whatever, we lost. It's only a game, why you gotta get mad and you move on. That's how biggest part of the fan base is at the moment. It's actually wild. I'm talking like a proper old granddad at the moment, aren't I? Mad. United were outspending us by a much greater factor than City are outspending. Yeah, you could say that. That's definitely true. But at the same time, we just... excuses. You find a way. If you don't win, you are held accountable. Exactly. You find a way. No matter what the cost, you find a way. Well, with Wenger, it was... the lower the cost, the better the player he got, it felt like. Like Sol Campbell, Henry, and all them stuff. The smaller was the cost for the player, then in year or two, the better the player was. It's kind of mad. These days, it doesn't work like that, but it's kind of mad. And at the time, there were no excuses. Arsenal won the league. There are no excuses, for example, which still kind of bothers me as an Arsenal fan, that with the team we used to have, we went invincible in Premier League, we won titles, we won trophies, right? Yet we still didn't manage to win the freaking Champions League. That is the one thing that it's still pissing me off from the old days. with Arsene Wenger, with Invincibles and everything. With the team we had, still didn't manage to win the Premier League. Because we weren't playing the classic England football, hoof it off top, billion crosses and everything. We still didn't manage to win the bloody Champions League. That is the one thing that is pissing me off from that time. That is actually the only merit, in a way, that team is only missing. That would have made, arguably, that team, that run, the greatest one in football, in a way. That is the one thing that is kind of pissing me off. I'm not gonna lie. You're saying the right thing about our attack force. If we want to win a trophy, exactly. We need an attacker. Big up Williams in the chat, by the way. Babatunde. We need the attackers. We are lacking. We don't have a backup for Saka. We don't have, left wing is a 50-50 one you can argue with here or there, but we don't have a Saka. We don't have a proper bagsman up front. Arteta says we have Kai Havertz, we have Jesus. Trossard also has played there, by the way, and it's a quote from Mikel Arteta himself. So what are we doing here? What if Saka gets injured? What's gonna happen then? You're gonna play Jesus at right wing. He's injury prone. One wrong tackle, he's out as well. Who's gonna play right wing then? Trossard? Okay, cool. Who's gonna sub on Martinelli? Who's gonna sub off Kai Havertz? Who's gonna sub off mid-game on that right wing, whoever plays there? We don't have the depth. And that's, in simple terms, we don't have the depth. It's not a coincidence that in PFA Awards, right, that just came out, in the PFA Awards, we have 5 players in there, right? We have a goalkeeper, 2 defenders, and 2 midfielders. 5 players. It's not a coincidence that we don't have no attackers in there. Genuinely, it's not a coincidence. Because if we won the league, there would be our attackers in there. But hey ho, our attack struggled in many instances. It maybe didn't struggle for goals, but in finishing the chances, they struggled quite a bit last year. Let's not get it wrong. We just create that many chances that it kind of paints over the cracks to the fact that we cannot finish on consistent basis. We don't have a proper striker. That is the one thing. Because if we win the league, one of our attackers 100% is in that PFA award in an attack department. City won the league, they have 2. Aston Villa have 1 because Watkins had a phenomenal season last year. No Arsenal players though. No Arsenal players. Saka didn't even win the PFA Young Player Award because Palmer won it, which also kind of proves that Cole Palmer, based on the footballer's vote, had a better season per se than Bukayo Saka. So that means if even in the big awards, the Palmer would be in front of Saka. It's kind of, if you think of it, it's actually kind of mad. I was saying to an Arteta lover that Wenger really managed on a shoestring. To be honest, he was. He was managing on a shoestring. Yeah, Palmer won't do this season as he will be. Yeah, he already was marked out of the game by Manchester City. I have no shadow of doubt Arsenal will do the same thing. The question is, can other teams mark him out of the game? That is the big thing. Because at the moment, it's all cool when Palmer catches everyone by surprise. But as soon as Cole Palmer is gonna get the Saka treatment that Saka gets every single game for the last 2-3 seasons, what he's gonna do then? That is the question. That's gonna show his quality. Because he has the quality. He has been studied under Pep for the longest time. He has the quality. The question is, can he put it to play when the going is gonna get rough this season? I am not moved by Merino, but at least now we need to rely on Grandpa Partey. Yeah, that's how I feel about it as well. That's how I feel about this as well, to be honest. I'm not super excited to sign Merino, but we signed a midfielder. Woo, happy days. Wish it was someone else, but we have signed a midfielder. I still believe we need to sign a striker and a backup for Bukayo Saka, so 2 more players. Will we do it? God knows. Most likely not. If I had to put my money on it, I wouldn't. Let's just say that. We cannot afford to not. Exactly, we cannot. We genuinely cannot. Because this is do or die season for me. For many reasons. Let's just say that. Because let's be real. If you know the reasons, you know the reasons. And at the moment, it doesn't look like we are serious. It's just like the time we finished second in the league quite a bit years ago. Not the last year, but years ago. when we were again, this was the year us win the league, but Giroud decided not to score goals for about 20 games. That was the same thing pretty much. We have been on many instances this close to winning the league. What took us that for the next season? Sign the proper players we need. And we have never done it. Always doing the bare minimum, not addressing the issues we have had in the squad. It's always been like that. How comes it took us until we signed Thomas Partey, let's just say Thomas Partey, to replace Patrick Vieira. And I'm not exaggerating. It took us 10 plus years to replace Patrick Vieira properly. How come? Like, it's been 4 years now, we haven't replaced Aubameyang. Like, what are we doing here? Like, legitimately, what are we doing actually here? Ornstein said we want backup, so we will sign another Trossard. Yeah, we never learn. The thing is, yeah, we most likely will sign another Trossard level signing. But the thing is, Trossard actually is doing much better than people are kind of give him credit for, in my opinion. Because Trossard for me is the most clinical attacker, finishing wise, we have in the team. That's just my personal opinion. Plus, if you look at the season and goals he scored last season, right? He scored pretty much the same amount of goals in half the time that Saka scored in Premier League. Because Saka has the penalties and everything. Give half the penalties to Trossard, they would be pretty much on the same goals. Trossard just doesn't get the credit he deserves, mostly because he just most of the time comes on the bench as a backup dancer for Martinelli. Even though for me, given what kind of season Martinelli had last year, and the fact that he against Wolves also didn't do anything great, right? I would start Trossard instead of Martinelli and make Martinelli fight for the spot. Because Trossard has proven that he can score, and he can score in clutch moments. Other players, yeah, that's the thing. He is not an X factor. Like, although last season when he came on as subs, he carried our team in certain wins. 100%. He scored some crucial goals. But overall, we don't have no X factor in the team. We don't have that. We don't have it in starting 11, and we don't have it coming off the bench. We need to start with the starting 11, but we don't have it. And that is a big issue. We don't have the X factor on the starting 11 that would instantly kind of ignite fear, stir fear into opponent's team. Yes, it's cool when you see Saka and everything, but they have plans for Saka, for example, for Odegaard. There isn't that, per se, Thierry Henry level player, Bergkamp level player, Alexis Sanchez type of player. When you'll see him in the tunnel, you'll see, well, I'm screwed today. There's no way I'm gonna stop him. We're done. There are those type of players who you look at and you can think even, I'm gonna do everything in my power to stop him, but you just cannot stop them. They are just too damn good. And we don't have that X-Factor player in our team, in my opinion. Trossard is like a Wenger signing, outperformed his price tag by a lot. Yeah, if Trossard was, let's just say, 5 years younger, he would legitimately, how old is Trossard now? 29. If he was 24, if Trossard was 24, he wouldn't be 35 million euros value. He would be about 60 to 70 million in value, in my opinion. 100%. 100%. Damn, Trossard the same. It's worse than that. He's freaking younger than me. That's even worse for me, to be honest. Not excited by this deal, but the Arsenal African-inspired kid has me hoping for Osimhen. We'll keep defenders scared. Big up, coach. Big up, big up, big up. I get that. That kid is kind of mix and match, that Lynx the deodorant kid, but you want Osimhen at the club, really? Like, you want Osimhen at Arsenal, right? I would assume so by the statement you've made. I'm not sure. I'm very 50-50 on Osimhen. He has injuries, first of all. Second of all, in AFCON, he looked dreadful, I'm not gonna lie. He has good heading ability, he can jump. His first touch is, I would say, questionable, let's just say that. His weak foot is decent, I'm not gonna lie. he was having a season of his life when Kvaratskhelia was having the season of his life in the first season. As soon as Kvaratskhelia fell off, also Osimhen fell off. So there is still the question of the fact, is it because of Kvaratskhelia he had the great season, or it's just a fluke that last season was the way it was? That for me is the case at the moment. And 130 million just is way too much for me. Let's just put it that way. Osman will be good. He can finish. Haaland overall play is bad, but this is a bagsman. Yeah, that he is that case. But Haaland is a freak. It's a bit different. Haaland, if needed, can outpace anyone in the world, it feels like, genuinely. Haaland is a robot in this instance, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, Osimhen will be good. He can finish. He can finish. The question is how we are playing. The way we play football, we need a player who can take one more touch and just bang it in. We need a player who can head the ball properly, who can hold up the possession and distribute it around it. It's a 50-50 one. For me, it's Isak is the perfect one for me. Then I would say it's Gyökeres. Then it could be Osimhen, but if the 100 million really makes me say no, They're willing to take 80 million for Osimhen. Lukaku going to... Yeah, that's the thing. Osimhen, they're willing to take 80 million for... but isn't that the case? They're willing to take 80 million if they get Lukaku. It's like a swap deal plus cash, isn't it that way? Because if other team wants him, you have to pay the full 110, 120 million you need. Isn't it that case? No replacement for Saka, and the attacker let for about Premier League and... Exactly! That's the case. We are this close to properly challenging everywhere. What we need for that is a striker, proper backup for Bukayo Saka, and then if you get some money, maybe another midfielder, if push comes to shove, right? But definitely we need a striker and a backup for Bukayo Saka. But again, we do the bare minimum. We don't address the instances we actually need addressed, because the left back position, yes, we need a left back. But for me, it's not the number one option we needed to sign this summer transfer window. For me, it's more of a second, third option. For me, number one was a striker / forward for backup Saka. For me, it was striker, let's be real. Then it was a midfielder most likely because of Partey's age and his injury problems, Jorginho's age, and he doesn't have legs. We basically have two snails in the midfield, if that makes sense. And then we can think about the left back. Because our defense, despite having all these defensive left back issues, already was the best defense in the league. Yes, we got targeted on that side, but if we sign a proper left back, we're done. We're good. We're legitimately good. We have a perfect good left back in the team, Kieran Tierney, but Arteta just doesn't like him, and that's his problem. Because for me, arguably, Kieran Tierney is the best left back we have in the club. Out and out left back. We haven't seen Calafiori, so I cannot speak for him, but if you exclude Calafiori's signing, Kieran Tierney is the best left back we have in the club. He can cross the ball, he can overlap, he can defend, he also can play left center back, and he is stone cold solid. Yes, he has injury problems, but at the same time, he's less injury prone than actually Zinchenko, for example. But he cannot invert. How comes when we played Kiwior at left back, we were inverting from the right all of a sudden? Then it wasn't an issue. So how comes you cannot play, for example, Tierney and let invert from the right side? Like, it makes no sense. Like, it's dilly-dallying all over the place. It's kind of pissing me off as well. Eddie is pure profit. No, we need Nelson and Ramsdale out. No reason why we can't sign players. Imagine Osimhen 80 million plus 10 in add-ons on Nico Williams, least close to us. Now, first, we are not signing Nico Williams. He's staying in Spain. He says fully committed to Spain. If we want to sign him, we need to play 16 million instantly, and we cannot do that. Let's be real. Well, we could, but Arsenal not going to do it in a way. Let's say it that way. Then we have to pay the salary for Nico Williams, which would be about 250 to 300,000 a week, because he's already on 200 something grand a week at Athletic Bilbao. So that is also instantly a massive loss for Arsenal. Plus, he wants to stay in Spain for this season alone. Plus, he's going to Barcelona next summer. That's how I see it. Eddie is pure profit. The thing is, we sold Emil Smith Rowe and the money from Emil Smith-Rowe partially went to Calafiori signing. I think that we are kind of trying to cover each signing with a sell, and if that is the case, which at least from afar it looks that way. If that is the case, we are gonna try and cover. I'm lost in the words. With Edu Nketiah signing, we're gonna try and cover Merino's signing. If that is not the case, however, and Eddie is pure profit and we sell him for about 30-something million, go sign a striker. Throw 15 million on top, sign a striker. I don't care. Just do it. For fuck's sake, just do it. Like Nike, just do it. Nike. In other news, let's move on for a bit because I've been yapping about this already way too long. I love it, don't get me wrong, I love chatting with you and everything, but it's been way too long. Exclusive, Southampton are preparing to make a loan bid for Arsenal's Aaron Ramsdale on Sky Sports. That's coming from Sky Sports. Whether it's going to happen or not remains to be seen, and whether Arsenal will accept it or not also remains to be seen. Now, this is a legendary tweet. This is a legendary tweet. Transfers in 23-24 season for Chelsea, and this is for 24-25 season for Chelsea. That is a legendary tweet. Anyways, moving swiftly on. Lookman is not coming. Nobody cares. This one. I don't know, but this still screams Mikel Arteta signing to me. And now there already have been links with Arsenal because, shock, who wouldn't link him with Arsenal? Because Arsenal get linked with every single goddamn player on the planet Earth. I don't want him at Arsenal. Let's get it out of the way. Instantly. I thought about this yesterday. Screw him. I don't want him at Arsenal. But this for me screams Mikel Arteta signing. He knows the player. He has trained him at City. Sterling is ready to take a pay cut to stay in England. He wants to stay in the Premier League. He wants to stay in England. He wants to try and still challenge for the World Cup spot for England. All this screams Mikel Arteta. He can save a player's career, just like he did it with Havertz. He can save him. And everything. That definitely screams the Mikel Arteta signing. I hate that my mind thinks about it this way, but it just does. And I'm very sorry. But it just does. It's kind of mad. I'm not gonna lie. Anyhow, this one is nuts. Edu Nketiah walks into Nottingham Forest fans speaking about Edu Nketiah. And I hope you have your popcorn. Edu Nketiah walks into pretty much every Premier League starting 11 bar the top 6. Yet Nottingham Forest fans still not happy. Absolutely baffles me. Hello? Have you seen Nketiah? He hasn't scored a home goal for a year since October 2023. He hasn't scored an away goal since December 2022. Hello? Like, legitimately, he doesn't. Comments. Villa has at Villa they have Watkins. Newcastle have obviously Isak. Wolves have Mateusz Cunha most likely. West Ham now they have Fulkrug, Brighton, Fulham, Brentford plus top 6. And that's being generous. Villa and Newcastle may be, yes. No, but for the rest. This is mad. Doesn't walk into Wolves. Strand Larsen is... to be honest, I would like Strand Larsen. Completely different type of profile attacker, which we could like. Villa, West Ham, Brighton, Newcastle, Bournemouth Palace. All of those except Villa and Newcastle easily. Mikel Antonio is clear. To be honest, Edu Nketiah is like Mikel Antonio. This is without the funniest thing. Right, we reject Nketiah, so don't know what on you about. Silly boy. Well, he don't get into Brentford, Newcastle, Villa or West Ham for stars. Brentford and West Ham, absolutely he does. Yo, these people are wild. He was loaned out to Leeds. Yes, he was in 1920. Harry Kane went on loan to lower league clubs, as do most of... He's getting compared to Harry Kane. Oh, holy moly. I thought our fan base was a bit wild. Yo, this fan base is not that far away. Edu Nketiah being compared to Harry Kane. Holy crap, what am I even reading here? That is kinda nuts, I'm not gonna lie. What I'm even seeing. I saw that tweet, had to pinch myself. That Muniz from Fulham is a beast, João Pedro. Muniz. Muniz from Fulham. I'm generally baffled. Muniz from Fulham. How am I blanking on this? Muniz Fulham. Oh, Rodrigo Muñiz. Okay. I get it. No. Now I get it. I finally got it. Never mind. My mind just went instantly blank. João Pedro, yeah. Is Sterling better than Martinelli? He has better technical ability. Finishing is 50-50 because it's something similar with Martinelli. If he's on his game, he can finish, but at the same time, he can miss empty net. Pace-wise, Martinelli is better. Overall, no. They are more or less the same. Someone is better at something than other one is not better. Passing-wise, I would say Sterling is a bit better, but both are below par. Although Martinelli can put in some decent crosses and also with his weak foot, which Sterling definitely cannot. I would say they're about the same in a way, but I don't want Sterling at Arsenal. Yes, if let's just say Martinelli had Sterling's ability to dribble the ball and stuff like that, then then Martinelli would be amazing, but he doesn't. One thing I like about Sterling is that he has always his head up. He doesn't run like a headless chicken or a boat without a speedboat without a driver, just and that's it. Because Martinelli tends to do that a lot. Drops his head down and just goes, and that is about it. That is the one thing I really don't like about Martinelli. I love Forest. They're always helping us out. We held them a lot. Yeah. We held them with Nuno Tavares, we held them with Matt Turner. It always worked out well. Just don't tell them about Nketiah's goal scoring record. Like 19 goals in 100 plus games. How do you rate the transfer market if Arsenal sign another winger and no striker? Depends who is the winger. That needs to be said. Depends who is the winger. But still, 4, maybe 5 out of 10. I would say 4 more, because if Ramsdale stays, Nelson stays, we don't address the striker situation, it's big issues for me. So I would say 4. If we get like a world beater winger, then maybe 5, but we are not gonna get that, so 4. Especially since we dragged out deals for 1 month and a half for Calafiori and month for Merino, for mediocre player Merino. Medium player for me personally. So yeah, it is what it is. We held them to... Yeah, we did. We definitely did. We did. Wolves target Aaron Ramsdale expected to leave Arsenal. That's according to Fabrizio Romano. Whether it's going to happen or not remains to be seen. Fabrizio throughout this whole window is waffling about potentially him going out, but nothing is happening. So maybe move on. By the way, Fabrizio Romano says the same information in different words for about 55 times before the deal actually happens. It's actually wild. It's kind of getting jarring on many levels. And on top of that, it's it's doing for the clicks and everything, because obviously X pays for that, but it is what it is. It is, I guess, what it is. I think Eddie will do well for Nottingham Forest, because he'll have regular game time, which every player needs. We hate him, but looking at stats is blood. If you come on for 10 minutes, it can. Yeah, true, definitely, that is true. But the fact that he hasn't scored a goal for a year and from away goal for 2 years, it's not a good sign. Let's be real. And it depends also, because Nottingham Forest have Avignoni. I'm really sorry if I butchered that for striker, that Nigerian guy. They have Chris Wood, who is definitely better bagsman in a way than Edu Nketiah. So he's the third striker there, in a way. The question is, if he get them running, how much he will score, because I'm already seeing some Nottingham Forest fans and some Arsenal fans even saying that Nketiah will score 20 goals for Nottingham Forest. 20 goals, and I'm not exaggerating, 20 goals. Holy crap, if that happens. Yeah, Avoni, I don't know how you pronounce that. I just know there's W's, Y's, and Y in there and stuff like that. But if he comes on off the bench with 5 minutes to go, how do... Yeah, you can say that, but at the same time, it's been years with Edu Nketiah. He comes on, he has started many games for Arsenal and hasn't scored enough. Let's be real, he's not the Arsenal level. He has showed that game in, game out, tripping over his own feet and the ball, missing clear-cut chances and everything. Even when he has started, he's been on many scoring droughts. Like, it's not a coincidence that Forest guy plays every... Yeah, but that's the thing. If he plays every week, he's good enough. And he's not gonna get replaced by Edu Nketiah. That's the case as well. Wait, let's check this before we go. Edu Nketiah transfer market. I want to check this before we leave. Current season. Yeah, exactly. For me as well. Avoini is way better than Nketiah. Forest will get... Most likely, in my opinion, it won't be money well spent, especially 35 million. 30 to 35 million. Especially if they could have gotten Santiago Jimenez, who in my opinion is way better than Edu Nketiah as well. Edu and Nketiah. Overall balance. Show. Let's see. Overall, Premier League. 116 games in Premier League. 19 goals, 5 assists. Okay, let's see. He plays West Ham, Brighton. This is the main game for him, scoring 2 against United and Chelsea as well when he scored. But overall, yeah, he has played full games, he hasn't scored, he has played few minutes and he has assisted. He's a mix and match, but overall, yeah, he's not the quality. He's not the quality. He played against Fulham full 90 and he didn't score. He played 9 against Brighton and he assisted, so it's not like an exact science in this instance. Like 90, 22, like, eh. Last goals at home against Sheffield, scored a hat-trick, still living off it. October 28th, last home goal. And the other one, home goals, yeah, it's not an exact science, but per se it is what it is. In that instance, I agree, not Arsenal level, but not bad for Forest. Hudson-Odoi, Nketiah and Langa, not bad. To be honest, Hudson-Odoi and Langa are doing good for Forest. They just were at the wrong teams at the wrong time, in my opinion. Similar like Wilfried Zaha, for example. He was at Manchester United at the wrong time. The Manchester United nearly destroyed Memphis' Depay's career as well. You cannot deny that being in big teams in a key roles as a youngster is very challenging, especially if you have world-class players or high-end players in front of you. And for example, at United, at Arsenal even at the moment, at Chelsea, Manchester City, it's barely impossible to get into the team. And that's how many talents get wasted as well. And that is the case. And I think, for example, for me, if you have Elanga and Hudson-Odoi on wings, having, for example, Avoni up front is much better. Those three with pace and everything, with finishing is also better. Exactly. ESR is a prime example. Yes, he got hindered with injuries, with out of everything, but Arsenal signed Odegaard. He still played at times, but he wasn't fitting in. Because as soon as Odegaard came in, overall balance and the tactical side of the team shifted. And then as soon as it shifted, there was no place for Emil Smith-Rowe in the team. Because Emil Smith-Rowe can play very decently in multiple positions. But he cannot do that very, very well in a specific position, in my opinion. Because at left wing, we have Martinelli Trossard. At number 10, instantly, we have Odegaard, for example. Odegaard is captain. He gets subbed off, but you get what I mean. He plays their game in, game out. As number 8, he's not gonna work per se. He can play there, but not that good. But at the same time, we have Rice, Jorginho, and Xhaka now, and everyone else. So, in the time, as soon as the narrative shifted and we got the players for certain positions, he instantly was out of sorts and he just didn't have a place to play. That was the biggest issue for Martinelli. Plus, obviously, injuries hit and everything was the wrong time. And I really hope he balls out for Fulham. Really hope. As long as he doesn't ball out against Arsenal for Fulham, like last year Fulham ruined us, I'm all good. I want to see him do well at Fulham. Hopefully he does there. Anyhow, On that note, I'm gonna end it here. Thank you guys so much for chilling here. Thank you much for talking, discussing everything. You have been fan-freaking-tastic. If you're new around here, of course, don't forget to smash a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell. Watching this as a playback, don't forget to comment. Be amazing, do great. And yeah, see you all tomorrow. Take care, stay safe, have a great evening, and